Hey everybody, Bob Bloom, glad to have you back, and Weber Force members, good job being here. We're talking about asset protection, and I want to mention now I'm going to be talking about a particular strategy if you're a real estate investor. And believe me, our VIP members all are real estate investors. They invest heavily in real estate, and they always will, because this is well, let me put it this way. People who make money, they make it a variety of ways, but once they make their money, they typically put it into real estate. So if you're not currently a real estate investor, if you haven't chosen that as the vehicle to make your money, it'll probably be where you end up putting your money. So let's talk about tax strategies for short-term investing. I'm now talking about rehabs, flips, wholesaling, any short-term investing strategy other than buy and hold, all right? So pay careful attention, because if you're a flipper, a wholesaler, a short-term investor, beware of a particular tax trap that's very simple and easy to fall into. And that is, the courts have said you're either an investor in real estate or you're a real estate dealer. Now, think about what this term dealer means. If you go to a car dealer, you're going to buy a car because the car dealer's inventory is cars. By the same token, if you're a real estate dealer, you're selling real estate, which is your inventory. In other words, you're not really selling houses, you're selling inventory in the same way that a car dealer is selling inventory. All right? So the problem is, when you're selling inventory rather than real estate, you're going to lose many of these fabulous tax deductions that real estate investors get. So for instance, here's the definition of a real estate dealer. It's someone who buys and sells property to make money and uses it as his or her primary source of income. And this is where a lot of real estate investors start, because it is a way that they can generate income quickly. All right? Investors who make their living flipping, wholesaling, or scouting are generally considered dealers. That's bad. You do not want the IRS to consider you a dealer. And here's an example. If we held the property more than a year and now we sell, we would typically be entitled to a long-term capital gains rate, which is, for most people, 15%. So what would be your tax rate in this particular case? And the answer is, it would be 35%, which could be the top personal tax rate for many people. And you say, well, why didn't I get a capital gains tax rate? And the reason is, you're a dealer and you're selling inventory, and so that's personal income, not long-term capital gains. It's ordinary income. Okay, so we lose the long-term capital gains rate if we're a dealer. Second of all, you can't use the installment method, where you can defer the taxes until you actually receive the payment. The taxes are now due immediately when the sale is made. That can hurt. You can lose your 1031 tax-free exchange treatment. In other words, a like-kind exchange you can no longer do, because you're not selling real estate. Remember, you're selling inventory. And you lose depreciation on the real estate, which can be devastating from a tax standpoint. And you may also be required to pay self-employment tax, which is the Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, we often call it FICA, up to 15-point-something% on your income. And for this reason, you lose all these tax benefits of being a real estate investor. So you simply do not want to be considered to be a dealer. Now, the IRS is the one who decides whether you're a dealer or not, and that is based on your intent as the IRS determines your intent, not what you subjectively intended. All right? And the problem is, the IRS doesn't look at dealer status on a deal-by-deal basis. Once they determine you're a dealer forever. And that is a very big problem. So how do we avoid dealer status? Well, the way we do it is a couple of important strategies. You want to avoid dealer status altogether. And to do that, you want to flip a certain number of houses in a corporation. In other words, you never buy and sell in your name, you do it through a corporation. The corporation buys the property. If you're going to rehab the property, then the corporation rehabs the property, and then the corporation is the seller of the property to the next buyer. In other words, the corporation does everything and you keep your name out of it. All right? Then, after we do a certain number of flips in that corporation, we simply dissolve the corporation and start another one. All right? So, there's never a dealer because we never got to the point of doing so many flips that we would be considered a dealer, because that corporation has now gone away and there's a new one in its place. So we might flip, I don't know, there's no hard and fast number, but let's say 10 houses in a corporation, and then we terminate the corporation, we set up a new one and flip 10 more. All right? Now, the second strategy is, if we can't avoid dealer status, then at least we want the corporation to be considered the dealer, not you. Because remember, if you personally are the dealer, you're a dealer for life, and you'll never escape that status. So the way we want to do it is this: if you do both flipping and buy and hold, in other words, a common strategy is you're out there, you have deal flow, and you're looking at houses, and you say, I'm going to flip this one, flip this one, flip this one, keep this one. This is a good one to keep. I'm going to flip this one, keep this one, flip this one, keep this one. So you're doing both flipping and buying and hold. You want to have a corporation to manage the buy and hold properties, but you want to use a corporation to flip the properties you're flipping. All right? Don't do it in your name. Do it in a corporation. Then when we've done a certain number of flips, and that'll depend upon different things, we'll dissolve that corporation, set up a second corporation to continue flipping if that's what you're going to do. And then after a certain number of flips, we'll dissolve that corporation and set up another one as well, so we avoid dealer status altogether. All right? So, folks, to avoid dealer status, only do flips in a corporation. Never do flips in your name. All right? Want to thank you for being on WebiForce. WebiForce members, good job. We're going to talk next about a very important topic, which is land trusts. Join us on our next video.